football. We had a lot of big games, a lot of big results. But before we even get into Saturday, we have a crazy game to kind of talk about that happened on Friday night. Florida State goes on the road to the Commonwealth in Virginia, and they lose in overtime. Thomas Castellanos throws a pick late, and Virginia rushes the field. They win the game. It's just a weird year, man, because you know Florida State didn't even look terrible in that game. I mean, they didn't make a lot of great plays. Like they let Virginia stay in the game, let Virginia keep making plays. Virginia kind of limited what they could do on offense. Like even on that final score for Florida State to win the game or to tie the game to go into overtime, it was like Florida State's just like doing these crazy, desperate things to score, and then Virginia was kind of doing everything at will. And then they get into overtime, and it's the same thing. And Thomas Castellanos throws a pick. Week one, Florida State beats the brakes off Alabama. Well, Saturday night, Alabama controlled that game for the most part. Made Georgia play catch up. So it's just a weird year. Really don't know exactly what's going on. What was your kind of reaction watching the Seminole faithful kind of fall short there in Virginia on Friday?
Yeah, it was kind of. I mean, I'm glad you kind of went off on that tangent about just college football in general because it's kind of like what me and you talked about all off season. How we don't really. There's not a clear cut number one, and I still feel that way. I mean, as much as I love the Buckeyes and I know they're ranked number one, I could hear an argument for at least three or four teams to be number one. And then I could also listen to an argument for 25 teams to be in the top 10. With that game specifically, it just seemed like Virginia wanted it more. I mean, it seemed like Florida State kind of slow rolled into that game thinking that they were going to go in and just win the game outright and not really have to try. I don't know. If they were looking ahead to play Miami or if they just weren't focused on the game. But I mean, it kind of robbed us of possibly a top five matchup for next week with them versus Miami. But that's why you play the games instead of just looking and being like, oh, Florida State's going to easily beat Virginia. No, you play the game and then that's what happens. So I mean, I don't think you could obviously tell that Florida State had more athletes. They were more athletic than Virginia, but it just seemed like Virginia wanted it more. And it seemed like Virginia kind of just kept throwing punches, kept staying in the game. And they took it to overtime and they made the play when the play needed to happen. Now, if they played 10 more times, Florida State probably wins 8 of them. But you don't play a game 10 times. You play it once. So that's why you have to show up every week and play the damn game.
And honestly, as far as like Virginia's schedule moving forward, I mean they did lose to NC State, so that is against their conference record. But I mean they have a bunch of winnable games ahead of them. I mean, if Virginia can build on this, I do like their quarterback. Chandler Morris is a good quarterback, and we kind of saw what he did last year at North Texas, and he impressed me. And then he impressed me in that game against Florida State. But looking forward, Virginia could set themselves up to maybe be like a spoiler with this win in the conference championship race. We'll just have to kind of keep an eye on them moving forward. They got to play Louisville, which is a good football team. They got to go to Duke, which could be kind of scary. I
Problematic.
reckon.
Yeah.
They got to go across the country and play California, but I mean, they could play spoiler a little bit. Right now, as far as the conference standings go, they are fifth. Of course, there's only been a couple of weeks of conference play. But let's kind of move on to the next one. I didn't watch this game, but just to kind of get it out there, Arizona State defended home field, beat TCU. I mean that's a big win for Arizona State. We were kind of talking about how for them to have a chance, they've already. I mean, the Mississippi State game didn't have any effect on them having a chance. But in order to have a chance in the Big 12, you have to win all your home games for sure. And then I mean, you just got to win these weird Friday night games. And they took care of business. They beat TCU. I didn't expect that. I thought TCU was going to win. I thought TCU looked like the better team going forward. But let's kind of get into Saturday games. Let's start with that. Let's just kind of start with that Ohio State Washington game. I kept up with it a little bit, but Ohio State kind of controlled it. Washington, Washington get up 3-0, and then Ohio State kind of controlled it after that. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so here's what I'll say about this. I think right now it's like, oh, well, Ohio State beat Washington 24-6. I truly believe later in the season you'll look back and be like, that's a good Washington team. It's not just a Washington team that like, oh, they'll probably lose 3 games this year and they're just not going to be that good. And Ohio State was like kind of sleepwalking into that game. No, that's a tough environment to play at. And Washington is a good team. Washington reminds me a lot of Florida State. They have the runaround quarterback. I think he throws the ball a lot better. Here's what I'll say. Well, am I happy with us winning 24-6? Yes. Do I feel like we could have won more? For sure. I think Ryan Day really held the offense back in the first quarter. I know Brian Hartline's our play caller, but I don't feel like he really let Brian Hartline open it up because we ran the ball constantly. That's the main thing I worry about with the Ohio State team is running the ball. And I know you look at it, and I think we rushed for like 7 yards a carry or something, but or maybe it was 4. I think it's 4 yards a carry, but it's not sustained. Like we can't lean on it, if that makes sense, or we can't right now. But defensively, I mean, we held their team to 61 yards rushing, and then 173 yards passing. So Ohio State's offense is I think it's just going to take time to get it kind of rolling. But the defense is, I mean, they're one of the most complete teams in the country, I think. I mean, their defense is the truth. I mean, I really do feel like Washington is up there on the offensive scale of, an Ole Miss, teams on that caliber where you really have to game plan for their quarterback and their running back and their wide receivers. You can't just go in and be like, well, they got a quarterback that likes to run around, but as long as we play assignment football, we'll be okay.
Well, I think to an extent, Julian saying going on the road, first big road start. I think maybe they ran the ball more to kind of just ease him into that because it was a big atmosphere. It was a big thing. And
yeah.
From what I seen, it didn't look like he played bad whenever he did throw the ball. I mean, he threw a couple touchdowns. I just think they were trying to protect him, and they did, and they won the game, so that's what you got to do. That was a good win for them. Let's kind of talk about that other – trying to think of what to talk about next. I wanted to save Penn State.
You got Iowa, Indiana, which was a close
I didn't
game.
watch that game at all. I see that Fernando Mendoza played another good game, and I saw the end of it where he ran and jumped into the end zone, for the walk-off safety. I'm sure Jim Harbaugh just loved seeing that if he did this morning. But it's just a typical Iowa game, man. I don't think they can get blown out. I don't think it's possible to blow Iowa out. I think they get just enough first downs. They run the ball just good enough. Like they play just good enough defense to never get blown out.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And I mean, I don't know. You're never going to blow Iowa out. I think last week kind of gave a lot of people a little too much hope because their offense miraculously put up points. But, this is going to be kind of the same thing that I talk about in, later games that we talk about. So here's where I'm at. I don't like doing transitive property because I think it's stupid as shit. But eventually you do compare apples to apples. Like this team played this team close, this team played this team close. Now they're playing each other. So like you kind of take a little information out of that game. Now you don't go back and say like, oh, Ole Miss played this team and this team and this team, and then that adds up to where technically, this team would lose to LSU. I don't look at it that way. I just mean like look at it as like, okay, for example, Illinois and Indiana played last week, and Iowa or Illinois only put up 3 points or however many. So what I'm getting at is like just because Iowa only put up 15 against Indiana, Indiana's defense might be really good. So don't just look at this game and be like, yep, that's another Iowa team. Their offense just sucks. I'm not saying their offense is the greatest offense in college football, but I really don't think that their offense is as bad as it usually is. Usually, if Iowa wins a game, it's like a 6-3 game. Another backup quarterback came in. Another starting quarterback got. I don't really know why, because there were some other games on at this time, but I know their starting quarterback either got hurt or concussion protocol, or they just didn't like the way he was playing. So I know they brought him in. I mean, overall, it was just kind of one of those, like you said, like a typical Iowa game. They're not gonna just drown you out. You're gonna be able to score, but you have to be monotonous in what you're doing, and you have to take advantage of your possessions because they run the ball a lot, and if they do throw the ball, it's really dink and dunkish.
Yeah, I didn't watch that game at all. To be honest with you, there was other games going on. Let's kind of talk about Illinois beating USC. Jordan Maava. I mean, this is what I was happy about to see from Illinois. Jordan Maava had a great game. Like honestly, like 364 yards, as we've seen. Like unless you're playing Arkansas, 364 yards is a really good game. And but Illinois still found a way to win. I mean, Luke Altmaier played a good game. I don't know. I heard the Rankin Riley crap about and this isn't crap. I don't mean to say it that way. I just didn't have another word. About them having to play the latest game, flip and play the earliest game. But regardless, you play with the schedule you get. You don't control the TV times. Regardless, Illinois to me that's a big win for Illinois.
Yeah.
Just got legit the break speed off of you by Indiana, and then you flip around and you beat it. And I think on a neutral field, I think Illinois and USC would be a lot closer, or not Illinois and USC. I think Illinois and Indiana would be closer, but I also think
Yeah.
USC and Indiana would be close. I think Indiana would match up. I think USC would match up a little better with Indiana because they can score better. I think Jordan Maava is way better than Luke Altmaier as far as like going forward. I think we know everything we're going to know about Luke Altmaier because he is like a fifth-year senior and he's played all those years. But either way, it's a big win for Illinois. They ran the ball well. They didn't play. Neither team played great defense, but you just found a way to win, and it's a good bounce back game. That's a good. What I'm saying is like the season's not over.
Yeah, and I think that Indiana game, like I feel like even if they played the exact same game over again in Bloomington, I don't think you're going to have that outcome more than probably 2 times, maybe. It might just be a once-off. I just don't. I just feel like Indiana scored fast, and it knocked Illinois kind of out of the rhythm, and they had to do stuff on the offensive side that they don't like to do, and it just kind of was an onslaught. I don't feel like that would happen again. I feel like Illinois is still a good team. They can still make a playoff run. Is it going to be harder? Yeah, because that's an ugly loss that they had. But this is where you start. They could have came out and they could have lost this game, and then yeah, you're starting to talk about season being over. But this is kind of that middle of the pack Big Ten teams where it's like they're going to all be fighting for that last spot in the playoff, I feel like. And I think it's going to make for some interesting games. Because I'm kind of with you. I think USC is a good team. I think Illinois is a good team. Do I think on a national perspective, USC's a little bit better? Yeah, just because they have a more high-powered offense and, they can stick with some teams a little bit better. But, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Illinois just because they aren't flashy.
Okay, and then one more game I want to talk about before we get into all of it. like to the big ones. Everyone wants to know what my reaction is to Notre Dame, Arkansas. I'll tell you my reaction. I'm going to do it with a very calm, very collected. That's the type of effort you get whenever your coach is already fired. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you get. I don't think Notre Dame is just world's class better athletes. I don't think CJ Carr is like this crazy quarterback that throws for 300 yards on us. I do think Jeremiah Love is for real, and I think he showed that kind of. But I don't think that this is a team that has anything left to play for. The season's over. Pittman's gone at the minimum after this year.
I've
That's
seen a thing. I've seen a thing, Mason, where if he's above 500, his payout is like 8.9 million. If he's below 500, his payout's like 6 million. And right now he's 2 games above 500, and his next 2 games are Tennessee and Texas A&M. So I have a feeling they're gonna last him out until the Texas A&M game.
Yeah. Regardless, $2 million pocket change, but
I don't. Okay, this is the only thing I'm gonna say, and yeah, I agree with you. I think this is one of those teams to where like they know the season's over. They're not really playing for much. I think Taylor Green's. I think he's a great quarterback. I just think that he's kind of capped where he's at. I don't think he's going to get much better than what he already is. It's not like he's a freshman, or it's not like he's like CJ Carr, where it's like, oh yeah, he's going to grow. No, what you get with Taylor Green is what you get. He's gonna have bad interceptions. Um, this could very well possibly be the best defense that they've played to this point. I know they played Ole Miss. Ole Miss has the 121st ranked running defense. So this might have been the best defense that they played all year. And it could have been the best offense. You don't know. That's the thing about early season games. What I will say is I don't think I think CJ Carr is a good quarterback. I don't think that he's good enough to like lead Notre Dame to like a national championship personally. But he did make it look sexual. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sorry. It was so bad. I couldn't watch
it
it.
was.
I was like, geez. And Jeremiah loves the truth, man. Their running back duo. Here's my thing that a lot of people don't know, and then I'm done with the game. The running back coach that coaches at Notre Dame now, the running back coach, he was at Penn State and he left and went to Notre Dame. Did he upgrade running back rooms?
He upgraded the lead running back for sure.
I don't know.
Jeremiah Love's the best player in the country, but I don't know. I think going into we can talk about this in the Penn State game. Without those two running backs, they lose that game by 30.
You're right.
They're Drew Aller, dude. Holy cow.
Dude, he's awful. Do you want to just go into that game next, or do you want to save that one?
Yeah, we can talk about it. Look, I did not watch that whole game because
I watched it.
I was in between Alabama, Georgia, and Penn State, Oregon. I got to watch that final overtime. That was very quick for sure. Drew Aller, like, what was that? I mean, Jim Knowles drops a D end, sets it up to where all you have to do is score. And I don't know what the announcers were talking about. You don't have to kick or you don't have to go for 2 after you score. All Penn State has to do is score, kick an extra point, they win, right?
Yeah.
First play, Drew Aller. Oof. I mean, that was not it. The guy was open too. That's the craziest thing. The guy was open. That was not a D1 5th-year starter, Heisman candidate. You're the quarterback of number 3. Like, what are you doing? That was a terrible throw. And this is what we've seen from Drew Aller over his career. We thought it would be different this year because he kind of looked better in the playoff. They retooled their, receiving core, and I mean, James Franklin loses again. Happy Valley is not so happy this morning. That was so disappointing to me.
I
So
mean,
disappointing.
you, I just being a Big Ten fan, I kind of knew what Drew Aller was. I thought he might make a step personally coming off the playoffs, but obviously he didn't. Dude, he looks like a complete liability. Complete liability.
Mm-hmm.
And Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton's he was nowhere to be found. He had
Man,
like 2 yards of rush. Katron Allen, he had a good game. I mean, he had probably I don't know like 4 point something yards per rush. I think Oregon's a pretty good team. Um, now I mean, both defenses played fine. Like you
yeah,
can't be mad at Penn State for giving up 30 in overtime. So really,
no.
they gave up 17. I think was the score
Mm-hmm.
before. Yeah, so it's
It was like
17.
3-3, like middle of the third quarter. Like it was a very defensive
Yeah,
struggle game.
yeah. I mean, and I don't. Here's what I'm gonna say, and this is kind of gonna be what I say about the um the Ole Miss the Ole Miss LSU game too. Don't put too much stock into Oregon stopping Penn State's offense because they're one dimensional. They're not that good. I mean they're a good team. I'm not going to say that they're not a good team. Could they make the playoff and in a certain situation could they cause problems to a team? Yes. I could say Penn State giving Alabama absolute fits because Alabama has a run defense problem. That's something we'll talk about then too. But like, I feel like Oregon just matches up well against Penn State, and Penn State matches up pretty well against Oregon. If you play this game over and over again in Happy Valley, yeah, they might win. If it's played on neutral site, Oregon probably squeaks this out by 7 to 10 points every time, I would assume. Um, yeah, man, Drew Aller's not it. He's not. Um, I mean, I hate it for the kid because he is from Ohio, but like he has all the arm talent in the world. He just reminds me a lot of Kyle McCord, where he just seems like he can't. It's just I
Um,
don't know. You
Kyle
know me tell
McCord
you,
had Kyle McCord had these.
that is true. Um,
Drew Aller does not, dude. Drew Aller, he shrivels up raisins whenever the big moments are there.
you mean
Raisins.
tell you who Drew Aller really reminds me of? Like when I was watching this game last night, it reminded me. Like I was like, that's Drew Aller. Drew Aller is literally a less athletic and smaller nuts version of Haynes King.
Yeah, he can't. He definitely not a dog. Definitely.
No, he's
Haynes
not a
King will
dog.
run through your
He,
face. Yeah,
exactly. Like he
yeah.
reminds me of Haynes King. He's a little athletic, but he's not as athletic as Haynes King. Haynes King and him probably have about the same arm talent. Or Drew Aller probably has more arm talent. He just doesn't let it rip because you can't blame it on the receivers. I mean, the receivers are pretty good. That number 5 that they have that took that little reverse, whatever you call that
Mm-hmm.
trick kind of play around the end. That dude's got wheels. But I mean, once again, I'm a Big Ten fan, Ohio State fan. Once again, Penn State screws it up for an undefeated matchup going into the shoe in like 3 or 4 weeks. Um, I mean, I don't care. The game will probably be at noon anyway. So
This is kind of what I was thinking about with the Penn State thing. Is like I'm not ever saying to fire your coach whenever you are constantly in a position to win the
yep,
conference and make life. I'm not saying to do that, but he's had ample time at Penn State to win these games. He's had ample time to finally just get the ball. I mean, is it a coaching problem? Because Drew Aller was a highly recruited, highly touted quarterback prospect. I mean, he's had all Saquon Barkley. He had Miles Sanders. He's had like NFL players after NFL players after NFL players, and they always fall short. When are you gonna say enough is enough? Georgia had to do it with Mark Richt. I mean, the same thing. Georgia with Mark Richt had all these NFL players. They were always in this position. They weren't always in the position, but they would always set themselves up to be in a position to make the next step into, at that time, was the BCS or the SEC championship. And Aaron says, Aaron says, Missouri quarterback better than Drew Aller? No. Missouri's head coach has these.
I think Missouri's quarterback is better than Drew Aller.
I don't think he is.
Bo Prabula?
I genuinely think there's a leash around Drew Aller. And I think it's James Franklin. I think he seizes up. I think he's afraid. I don't think he wants to he plays not to lose. He doesn't play to win. I'll give it to Drinkwitz. I hate him, but that guy takes risk every day by walking out of the house. That's a risk for him.
I do see, especially in big games, I see where you're coming from. But Drew Aller hasn't thrown for more than 250 yards since last year against USC. That's a quarterback problem too. You can't tell me James Franklin was coaching not to lose against Vanderbilt. I think Drew Aller could be a better quarterback. I think he gets gun shy. I think him and James Franklin are the same person, honestly. I just think that he doesn't set of nuts on him either, and they're just a bad marriage together because James Franklin isn't going to pull that out of Drew Aller. So I agree with Aaron. I think Bo Prabula is better, which is crazy because Bo Prabula was Penn State's backup, and he was supposed to be the heir apparent to Drew Aller, but Drew Aller decided to stay another year, so he left. About the Penn State, getting rid of James Franklin, it really depends on the fan base. If the fan base is content with playing, winning every game they're supposed to, making it to the playoffs every other year or every year, we'll have to see how their season plays out, then yeah, keep James Franklin. I don't think James Franklin's going to lead you over the big wins. They've beat Ohio State before. They've beat teams before. But I think in those games specifically, there were specific things that happened to where it wasn't like James Franklin. I've never seen Penn State win a game where he's out-coached the other sideline.
I've never seen them beat Ohio State without a blocked field goal. Also, you have a call coming in. But let's kind of move on, though. Let's talk about Auburn, Texas A&M, okay? Now, so I was getting crucified on TikTok. Oh, you think Auburn's going to beat Texas A&M? I thought they could win the game, but my exact words, I'll tell you what my exact words were. I said, I'm taking the Auburn spread. I said, at the minimum. Hey, in my parlay, I took the Auburn spread. Guess what? It hit. Whoa. And you know what it was? Auburn's defense contained Marcel Reed. They didn't let up any big plays. Exactly what I said was going to happen. Texas A&M got after Auburn just like Oklahoma did, and it was just a defensive struggle. Guess what the spread was? 6.5. Guess what the score was? 10-16. So I want to say I was right. I did think Auburn was going to win the game, but I thought it was a toss-up enough to where I felt comfortable taking that 6.5 spread. So I'm going to say I was right. I don't know. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I give you flowers on that game. I thought with it being at Texas A&M, and I'm a lot higher on Texas A&M than people think. I don't think – here's what I'm going to get into too. I'll just go ahead and say it now. I hate preseason rankings. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think season rankings should come out until
next week. I'll drop my rankings after this week.
Yeah, next week, maybe a week after that. It really just depends because Ohio State right now, they're only number one because they beat Texas. I mean, yeah, you can say that they beat this Washington team too, but I don't think that they're clear-cut number one. I mean, if you want to stick them there, cool, whatever. But I think Miami's played more complete. I think, I could see them being number two. But there's a lot of teams in here that played this weekend that it's going to look like, oh, Ole Miss beat the number 4 ranked team. Why is LSU 4? They shouldn't be. They've beat absolute nobodies. And that's the same thing way with Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M's good. but I don't think they're the number ninth ranked team. I'm just a little higher on them than what most people were coming into the season. I like Marcel Reed. I think their defense is good enough. I think their offense is crazy explosive, and that's exactly what Auburn did. Auburn contained them. Now I don't know if Texas A&M was like looking forward to the next week. I don't really know what their schedule is. They might have a bye, so maybe they weren't. Um, no, they played Mississippi State, so they weren't looking ahead. It was just kind of Auburn did what they needed to do. It sucks that they didn't put up enough points, but
They got to
you
fix that
know,
offensive line, man. I mean, it was a
yeah,
problem again. Texas A&M was chasing Jackson Arnold for 4 quarters, and Auburn, they have talent at the running back position, but they just couldn't put things together enough, more like consistently to win that game. And Texas A&M got the win. I think if you play this, I don't care where you play this game. I think Auburn's offensive line is going to be an issue for a little bit this year. Now they're going to win some games because Arkansas is on their schedule, and our defensive line can't get any pressure. So Auburn is going to win another game, but I think it's going to be hard moving forward to like they might go 6-6 because their offensive line is just an issue. It just is, and they have a lot of tough games with against a lot of teams that have a lot of good pass rushes. Another game that kind of I think Auburn plays both Alabama and Georgia. But let's talk about Alabama Georgia real quick. It's kind of flow route. We'll talk about what I actually think was the biggest game last year yesterday. I think it was Ole Miss LSU. So let's talk about Alabama Georgia real quick. Um, it was kind of following the same script as last year. It was for a second. Like Alabama
yeah,
got out big, Georgia claws back, and then the half, and then you get to half, third quarter, and you're just waiting on Georgia, waiting on Gunnar Stockton, waiting on them to move the ball down the field, waiting on the big play, and it never came. Alabama's
hmm
defense snuffed them out the entire second half. I mean,
yeah.
it was like really Gunnar
I
Stockton, like really Kirby, like you were moving the ball crazy in the first half. Whenever you after you got down big, you came all the way back, and then it was just like nothing. Alabama snuffed
yeah,
it out. Alabama leaves Athens with a win. Alabama is the best team in the SEC right now. They just are. Just put it plainly, they are.
I think I kind of I don't know. I'll have to go back and listen because I couldn't remember exactly what my predictions were on this game specifically. I knew that I thought because the whole Georgia having the longest home game win streak kind of threw me off. But this is exactly what I expected to happen. I think Georgia, I don't want to say that they were fraudulent, but Gunnar Stockton does not push the ball down the field. So if they get down, it's going to be very, very hard for them to come all the way back and win because his average depth of target before this game. Now, listen, they've played absolutely nobody besides Tennessee. So, like, your average depth of target should be high. His average depth of target is like 5.5 yards. So, he's not pushing the ball down the field. And he still didn't in this game. He had a few plays to where he threw it a little deep. Their run game, that's what they rely on. And that's what Alabama struggles with. Alabama struggles to stop the run. That's why they lost to Florida State. They could not stop the run. Incoming upset for next week, maybe? I mean, I might say that I would take Vanderbilt because
Against
Vanderbilt likes,
Alabama,
yeah, because Alabama has such a problem stopping the run. I don't like that because here's the thing Alabama's offense, I do like Ty Simpson. I think he's really good, and I think their receivers are good. So I think they could come back. But if a team knows how to game plan for them, for Alabama not stopping the run, you can really work the clock away from Alabama if that makes sense. Now, obviously, I know it's going to be a crazy environment there. I'm not fully ready to just say I picked that game. I'm going to ride on it. But the way that Alabama plays defense and they stop the run is it worries me, especially because Gunner. I'm not high on Gunner Stockton. I put Gunner Stockton and Dadgum Drew Aller in the same scenario. I think they're like the same quarterback pretty much. Honestly, like 130 yards. You're kidding me. 130. Okay, Mason. That's it. 130 yards in this game Like that's pathetic. Like you should on 20 attempts, he threw for 13 yards. So and he had 13 completions. So he threw for his average completion depth was what?
10 yards.
10 yards. Yeah. And that's with yak yards too. So like that's not good. Especially when you look over at the other side of the ball, Ty Simpson, throttled Georgia's defense with 276 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like,
Well, and I will
and
say
I
this about
think
Georgia.
Alabama's offense is good. Don't get me wrong. Like they rushed for 117 yards. They threw for 280. Like I think Alabama does have a good offense. I don't think their defense is the caliber that they need for. I think they struggle to stop the run, which worries me with
I think
Alabama.
it showed a lot last night. I mean, they definitely didn't struggle to stop Georgia's run at all. Whenever Georgia was kind of scoring, it was off of like weird plays, and they were making plays. I think it's the quarterback run, but I also think Florida State's offense is. I know that they just lost to Virginia, but their offense is very unorthodox. It's a Gus Malzahn offense. You're going to have a lot of
Yeah,
motion. You're going to have a lot of weird things that you're going to have to just like. Your eyes are going to. Everything's going to lead you one way, and then it's going to lead you the other way, and then it's going to be like right at your face. Like you never know with Gus Malzahn's offense. So I think it's more of a thing of quarterbacks that can run, yeah. But they already have film on this Clark Lee led Diego Pavia Vanderbilt
you're
team.
exactly right. I mean,
But
film's a big deal.
right, but to stay on like the win that they got, Ty Simpson did look electric last night. He looked very
Yeah,
confident. He was very accurate. Alabama didn't put up a lot of points in the second half, but they kept the first downs coming. Jam Miller returning for Alabama, their running back, is a very big deal. He's a very physical running back. I don't know. I was very impressed because he was hurt for that Florida State game, and so they couldn't really. I don't know. But the effort is a big deal. I said after they lost that game to Florida State, it was like it just looked like they didn't care. It just looked like they didn't want to be there. It looked
yeah.
like they thought they should have won, but that they didn't have to work that hard. But this game was completely different. I mean, they gave every bit of effort I wanted to see. I think moving forward, it's going to be tough to beat Alabama. Like they still got to play Tennessee, they still got to play LSU, they still got to play Vanderbilt, like we said. Um, they got to play Auburn. That could give them issues, but it's going to be hard to pick against Alabama the rest of the year. I mean, in the regular season.
Hey, Mason, is Ryan Williams the most overrated player in college football?
He had a good game last night.
I mean, he's okay. I just mean, like, I don't.
I mean, I don't think he's the best receiver in the country. I don't even think
I
he's
don't
the
think
best
he
receiver
deserved.
in Alabama. But
That's what I'm saying. When I say overrated, I'm not saying he's bad, but he wasn't even the leading receiver on the team. I mean,
no, they have another receiver, number 5, I think.
yeah, and he wasn't the leading receiver on the team. It was Horton was the leading receiver. But yes, like to lead the season, number 5 is their leading receiver. That's their
Yeah.
true cut number 1. But like, I don't know, man. Ryan Williams just does not. He only has 208 yards through what is that, 5 games? Like
He
to
dropped a
be
touchdown last night. That was pretty bad.
yeah, and maybe it's sophomore slumps, but I don't know. I kind of talked about it in the beginning of the season that I was not high on Ryan Williams this year. I'm just not.
I think he had one crazy game and everyone anointed him because it was on
Exactly.
the biggest stage against the biggest team. But that's not to say that he couldn't become. I mean, he has 2 more years of college at the minimum.
Yeah.
He could very well become a great wide receiver. I don't think he is right now. But that was a very big win for Alabama. Moving forward, that you're going to look back at this one. That was a big win. If they don't do what they did last year and turn around and lose to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I don't even know what that spread is.
Let's talk about what I think was the biggest game of the week. It was kind
of
It was just I think this one, as the day played out, I looked back and this was kind of the most important one. LSU goes on the road and loses 24-19. Trinidad Chambliss played a good game, but more importantly, this is what I took away from that entire game. I don't think Ole Miss's defense is elite. I'm just going to come out and say that. I don't think they're elite. I think LSU's offense is terrible. I mean,
Thank you.
Garrett Nussmeier is not a good. I mean, I just kept watching it, and I was like, okay, Garrett Nussmeier would have one good throw. I'd be like, okay, here he goes. Nope. I mean, just nope. And I will credit some of it to Ole Miss's defense because they did stop the run very well. They played to the edge of the field very well. So LSU couldn't just get easy like flat throws, run 20 yards. They played very well to the edges. They shut down the run, and they got to Garrett Nussmeier, which I said going into it. I said, Ole Miss struggled with Taylon Green because he was so elusive, so athletic. Garrett Nussmeier isn't that, and it showed. Whenever the pocket broke down, he just went down. And Ole Miss was able to get them in third and longs, second and longs, and LSU was never able to get anything going. As far as Ole Miss's offense, I mean, they did what they had to do. I mean, Trinidad did throw for what was it? 314. Kewan Lacey went for 87. Like they got a lot of yards. He ran for like 50 rushing yards. It was a very impressive game for Trinidad Chambliss against who I think is a very good defense. But it just like it wasn't. Ole Miss didn't beat them because Ole Miss just wore them down with their offense and beat them with their offense. It was to me, LSU's offense is just inept, and it's crazy to say that because for the last 4 years it's been LSU's defense is inept. Flip the script completely now. LSU's offense is bad, real bad.
Yeah. Okay. I think by the end of the season, I only think LSU's ranked, personally. I don't think they're going to be in the top 25. For one, their offense is absolute dog shit. They can't run the ball. Ole Miss, like I said it coming into this game. One of my biggest points was don't be surprised if LSU decides that – or LSU runs the ball well because Ole Miss's run defense is not good. Well, LSU still can't run the ball good. I don't know if they would be able to run the ball on a high school team. They only had 54 yards rushing. Their offense is absolutely horrible. It's not good. And I don't think their defense is elite. I think they have a decent defense, but I think they have a good red zone defense, which is great. I would rather have a good red zone defense than just an okay defense all around. But they gave up almost 500 yards of total offense. You don't have a good
defense was on the field the entire game. I'm serious. Like in the first half, it was 54 offensive plays for Ole Miss to 24 for LSU. I really don't think that defense is a problem. I think it's that LSU's offense is so bad that LSU's defense is on the field the entire time. The entire game. They were on the field the entire game.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, like I said, I didn't really get to just sit down and watch this game, obviously, because Ohio State was playing at the same time. I had it on my phone, but I couldn't have told you. I'm just looking at the box score, like Mississippi State not Mississippi State. Ole Miss outscored LSU in the first half 17-7. I don't know how many, what the yardage was or anything like that. I just really think that LSU's fraudulent, personally. I think they have a pretty good defense, but I don't think their defense is good enough to sustain how bad their offense is. And some of that comes into being on the field more. But, I don't know. It's hard to say because you don't know how much being on the field really matters. I'm trying to see, Nussmeier and Trinidad had, the same amount of passes, and then Ole Miss had double the amount of runs. So they had 42 runs to LSU's 21. That's probably where the more plays came in. I don't know what the play breakdown was, but, you watch the game. What I'm getting at is, I don't care how many your defense should not give up 500 yards.
No, but this is what happened essentially, okay? And I'm looking this up real quick. The time of possession in the second half made it look a lot closer, but in the first half, Ole Miss dominated by getting first downs. Okay, this is the stat I was looking for. Ole Miss had 28 first downs. They had 484 total yards. But they didn't score a lot of points. They scored 17 points. They scored 14 of them in the second quarter. Okay, and as the game went on, they scored one more touchdown. And it was kind of to be the dagger. But what it was is they got 28 first downs. They went 8 for 16 on third downs. They just kept drives going,
Yeah.
kept wearing them down, kept wearing them down. And then this was on the flip side. This is LSU. They had 16 first downs, but they were 2 for 11 on third downs, and they only went for fourth down twice. So basically, okay, you incorporate the 2 fourth downs they went to. So they went, 3 for 9? So that's
Yeah.
6 3 and outs. That's just 6 3 and outs. Boom, boom, boom. And then Ole Miss
Yeah.
is just wearing you down, wearing you down, wearing you down, wearing you down. Like Ole Miss's defense, I'll give Ole Miss defense the credit. Like I said, they got to the edges. They kept LSU in front of them to where there was no just like broken tackle, big plays. But Garrett Nussmeier and LSU's offense is just it's like crazy to watch how bad it is. Like it's crazy to me to watch how just inept they look. They drop passes. They don't block very well. Like they don't break tackles. It's just it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, and I think their defense, like I said, I think their defense is a good defense. I don't think they're an elite defense like they were talked about at the beginning of the season. I know, and I say that because I don't feel like their defense is good enough to put up with their offense. So like you're gonna give up points. Especially, like I said, I didn't get to watch the game. I just seen that Ole Miss had 190 yards in penalties against them.
Mhm.
Now that could have been on the defensive side, that could have been on the offensive side. I don't know where it was.
It was all on defense. There was one of those touchdowns that LSU got where they got the ball on like the 30 probably, and there was 49 straight yards of penalties. 49 straight yards.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's something you want to look out for. I don't know if Ole Miss, I've watched, I think, like one of their games. I don't know if they have a penalty problem. I don't know. Because, listen, refs.
It was all
PI. And here's what I'll say. And I feel like I can talk about it because it happened to us yesterday. I'm all for complaining about refs. I will always be there for that because there are times where refs screw games over for you. 2019 against Clemson, Ohio State, you got a fumble, but they called it an incomplete pass. I'm all for refs, screwing you out of winning games. But you also, what I hate are people that are unreasonable fans that complain about refs when it's like, yeah, I mean, I see the complaint, man, but that's not that bad of a call. Like, okay, yesterday, Ohio State, Washington had us on the ropes. We threw a pass on like 2nd and 20, and it was incomplete pass, and they called hands to the face on the defensive lineman, or roughing the passer, sorry. It was not a roughing the passer. It was not. It should have been 3rd and 20. It was a bad call. It was horrible. When I seen it on the replay, I said that it was a bad call. Mason's watched games with me, the Ohio State-Texas game, when we've got calls, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of knick-knacky. I'm glad we got it, but it's a super knick-knacky call. Don't be that fan that thinks every call that goes against you is bad and every call that goes for you is great, because like I won't ever watch games with you because that's awful. I don't like that. Like, yes, refs do screw people over sometimes, but most of the time if you watch the games, refs call things to where it's like, okay, they're calling PI a lot. That means they're not going to let them play. They're not going to let them be physical on the outside. It's not just going to change. So in the 4th quarter, you're not just going to be able to be physical with a receiver or whatever and then be like, oh, yeah, I don't know why they called that. That was an awful call. It's because they've been calling it the whole game. But, they could have a penalty problem. What I'm getting at is Ole Miss might have a penalty problem. I don't know what they rank in the SEC penalty-wise, but you got to watch out with that many penalties because against a good team, against a good offense, if you get about 49 straight yards, they're probably going to score on you. But that would be my biggest takeaway from this game, Mason, is I truly believe – I don't think LSU is going to be ranked by the end of the season, honestly. I really don't. I don't. I see them losing to Alabama. I very well could see them losing to Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. Like I just don't see them being ranked at the end of the season. And honestly, Mason, with as bad as their offense is, who knows? They might lose to the Hogs too.
I ain't even gonna say anything about that.
I know.
I'm
I
not.
kind of
I'm not.
threw a
I'm not.
shot. That's my fault.
I'm done with the Hogs. Anyways, I'm not done with them. I love them. I'm gonna watch them. But this is okay. We're gonna kind of wrap up the show here. I'm kind of done talking about college football. Jaylen Warren is out. I'm looking at my fantasy football team. Sorry, I have to.
No, you're good.
I traded for a running back to play in case one of mine get hurt. Would have loved to know that. Would have loved to know that information before the 9 o'clock UK game starts. Whoever in the world decided that American football needs to be played in Wembley Stadium every year and not announce it to me is like a bane to my existence.
Why can't you?
I would have taken out all my London players. I would have taken them all out if I could.
Why can't you go get the backup?
The game's already started.
Oh, and you started him, huh?
Yeah. Oh, and I swear this is every London game that's ever happened. My players will not do anything. It's like
no,
I'm allergic
mine
to
too.
scoring points. I'm allergic to scoring points in a different continent. Sorry,
Yeah,
I just
mine
had to
too.
go on that little tear. I just had
No,
to
you're
complain
good.
a little bit because I got a notification in the middle of you talking about that, and it was like Jaylen Warren out. I was like, huh, I probably should change that. Oh, the game's been going on for 30 minutes already. Great to know. Great to know.
Here's the last thing that I'll talk about too, I'm not going to go over it. Tennessee almost lost to Mississippi State. Mississippi State looks good. All fans that don't feel like you should get rid of Sam Pittman, like this is what can happen. Mississippi State was absolutely awful last year. Everybody thought they were going to be awful again this year, and they're actually competitive and playing good in games. So don't feel like, well, Sam Pittman's just the best thing we can get. It is what it is. I mean, it is possible to turn teams around, and I think somebody can do that. But that was a good game yesterday. I didn't get to watch it. Joey Aguilar kind of did what he did. You know, he threw for 330, and their running back rushed for 140 yards almost. It was a good game. Tennessee, I felt like that was a real gut punch for Tennessee, and they came out on top of it because they very well could have lost that game.
Well, and what I think it is Jeff Lebby has Mississippi State going in the right direction. I just don't think they're quite ready to win these games just yet. I think Tennessee, like I said this going into the year, I thought Tennessee was going to regress because they lost pass rushers. They lost Dylan Sampson. They lost certain receivers. They lost, which I think they won this, but they lost Nico and they were replacing their quarterback, and it's obvious regression. I do think Tennessee is one of the 25 best teams in the country. Like I don't know if they're quite a playoff team, but I think they are kind of a fringe playoff team. I think they're good. But I don't think Mississippi State is ready to beat a team yet like that.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
They could beat Arkansas. I'm not. I think they can win that game. I just think it's one of those things that they're on the doorstep, and I think they'll just keep if they keep on this track next year. They might win 7-8 games. You know, you might see Mississippi State get to where Ole Miss is. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do think I commend Jeff Lebby. I commend the Mississippi State Bulldogs. That was a great effort. They just aren't quite there just yet.
Yet. They're making progress. That's pretty much all I got. Georgia Tech won in overtime. That wasn't really that big of a game. It's crazy that they almost lost that game, but there's nothing to talk about there. That's pretty much all the games I see. For me too, Mason. Virginia Tech won after they fired their head coach. So that's a promising sign for maybe the football gods are watching out for teams after they fire their head coach.
Hey, Oklahoma State played a lot better after they fired their coach too. I mean, is this kind of? I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, hang on. I'm going to dive into this, Mason, because I just want to see. Okay, so if Arkansas waits 2 games, hang on, my stuff's loading. If Arkansas waits 2 games to fire Sam Pittman, that means they got to play because they got to be under 500. They got to be 500 or worse to fire him to save like 2 million, I think. So if
Pocket change. Fire him now.
yeah, well, okay, so they they play. No, it wouldn't even be that funny. Never mind. I was thinking like, what if they fired him and then the next game after he goes under 500 was like a Big Ten, like an LSU or a Texas, and Arkansas like completely crushes their playoff dreams because they get that wild spunk of like, oh, we got to play good for Bobby Petrino since he's our new head coach. You know what I mean? But they're just playing Auburn, so it wouldn't even be that big of a deal. I don't know, man. It just looks wild to me. I'm not gonna go into it because you don't want to go into it, but like Sam Pittman just looks like he's taking orders for Burger King when he's out there. Like he don't even look like he's there.
I just think right now I think he knows the writing's on the wall. There's no way he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the team knows. I think he's going to put on a face for as long as he's here. I don't think we're going to fire him during the season because I do think I'll say it like this. I do want to thank Sam Pittman because we were coming off 2-10 twice, but I think they let this go on too long, and I think
Yeah.
all the steam that he had coming out of 21, I think it ran out last year, the year before. I think he should have been gone whenever KJ and Rocket left. Um, I think it went on a little too long. I don't think he should have got 7 years. I think or 6 years or whatever it was. I think this should have never happened. I think we should have already been moved on. And I think going forward, the rest of the season, it's over. We'll just have to see who they hire, what they do in recruiting. We've obviously seen that one good transfer portal class can make you competitive. So, but that's all I
Yeah,
got,
and
man.
that's pretty much all I got too. Yeah, don't be scared of it. Just embrace it. I mean, Kirk Cignetti. A lot of people don't know Indiana was in the same boat Arkansas is right now in the Big Ten. Kirk Cignetti went there, and now they look like a back-to-back year playoff team, just off a transfer portal and knowing how to bring people in. So
Yeah.
look forward to it. What's the worst that could happen? You lose a couple more games a year than you're used to.
Well, we're used to it. This is our fifth head coaching search since
Yeah.
2000. So,
And you got to go spend money. That's the whole thing about it. But yeah, Mason, that's all I got. Thank y'all for watching on another Sunday morning of the recap show. We'll try to do better at posting TikToks. Follow us on Facebook. Obviously, like and subscribe on here. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Um, we're into the meat of the season now. You got conference games every week. We're going to have a big show on Thursday. So just get ready for that. We'll try to give y'all the best betting props we can give you. But I wouldn't like bet the house on anything that we say.
no,
But other than that, guys,
I did win $16 yesterday. So
I won nothing, but I didn't bet anything.
I
So
won $16. Now I did
I
lose
might
20.
I might bet some. I should have bet. I should have bet, but I didn't.
But it's all
But yeah,
right.
that's all I got, Mason.
Y'all have a good one. We will see y'all Thursday. Let me